director de SS Associates, que hablará sobre promoción de ciruelas deshidratadas en India. Una interesante charla, les pido por favor que lo recibamos con un aplauso.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sumit Saran. I and my company represents you in India. I know that you are late, so let me know how much time do I have. 25 minutes? Okay, so in the next 25 minutes that I have, what I'll try to do is show you some of the work that we've done in the last 1 year for your industry. I will also show you some glimpse of where India is, where we are headed. And finally, I wanted to leave you with 10 images, what I call as 10 mantras. This is where I think the potential lies. I hope you can take some things out of that slides that I'll leave it with you. But first thing I wanted to tell you was, and I had presented at the Chile Nut conference 2 years ago here. So some of the images for those people who have attended that might be familiar, but it is always good to revise on India. So the first thing that I wanted to drive to you is that understanding India is not going to be easy. And I've been hearing presentations in the morning, and why it's not going to be easy is this is India. This is India. But this is also India. This is also India. And this contrast that you see also translates in how we sell dry fruit and nuts and fruits and vegetables. So this was India, and this is also India. Now I can also tell you that all these pictures are from Mumbai within 5-mile radius. So the contrast that exists in the market is a contrast that you will not see anywhere in the world. And the fact is that the rich and the poor coexist in India. So what India you want to target will actually define how successful we get. But the fact is that India is what it is. Unlike some markets that I work, there are no artificial corridors of excellence, which means that you can be in the poshest location in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, and poverty will stare in your face. But that also means that you can drive into remote India, and there will be rich people. And that's the uniqueness of how this market is shaping and how we can be driving it. So knowing India, I mean, these are some basic facts that I wanted you to take note of. Of course, you know it's the largest population in the world now. But depending on what product you are selling, your consuming class is not necessarily 1.4 billion. Your consuming class could be between 50 million to 300 million, depending on what you are looking to sell. In my own understanding, I can take a number of 50 million for cherries, and I can take a number of 200 to 250 million for something like prunes. The problem is that that 250 million is mixed in a 1.2 billion. That is not your market. So how do we reach our target consumers is the most important factor going forward in India. I also think a lot of people have difficulty understanding what 1.4 billion means. 1.4 billion means that if 2% of India starts eating prunes, you've added an Australia to your market. If 4% India starts eating prunes, you've added a Germany. That's the power of this humongous population base that exists. Of course, we are a WTO signatory, and agriculture is core to India's existence. But for our industry, India does not produce any prunes. So in that case, there is no competition or there is no domestic. But on the other side of India, there are 5, 6 things happening simultaneously that I also wanted you to take an eye on. One, it is not a country, it's an absolute continent. So people who have traveled to India, I see some faces that I met at Meva and other places. People who have traveled, you will realize, when I go to Chennai, when I go to South India, I don't understand a word. It happens to be my country. I understand more Spanish than when I go to Chennai. I can't read a word, I can't understand a word. That's how different South and North are. I actually understand more Spanish than I understand Tamil. And that's 14 languages like that. So in terms of promotion, you can easily compare India to Europe. Similar size, 28, 29 countries, 28, 29 states. So for Europe, for example, you will not have a Europe promotion. You have a different strategy for Spain versus a different strategy for Italy versus UK. Currently, we are treating India as a homogeneous entity, which it is not. So the moment we are able to diversify, that will help. So you're talking 300 million consumers who are bound by aspiration. This aspiration is a big deal in India. This middle class, it's an aspiration for better life, better health, better education. Just a better tomorrow is something that India is aspiring for, and this young population is driving growth based on this. The media revolution is absolutely sweeping in India. What you watch in Santiago or somebody watches in California, India and its youth, it watches exactly the same thing. So the more we educate, the better results we'll get. And imported fruit from niche is now becoming mainstream. India was a closed market till 2000. So it's an old country, but a very new market. It's only opened in the 20 years, 25 years. And so baby steps are being taken. But Chile has a very special place in India. And we do work with several commodities from Chile. We work with Chilean kiwi fruit, we work with Chilean cherries. We represent Chile walnuts in India, and now this project on Chilean prunes. What Chile has been able to achieve on bilateral with India, and I also work with a lot of clients from the US, no other country has that kind of benefit. Whatever Chile does on bilateral agreements, kudos to you, to your leadership. I think prunes is right up there to be pushed. Chilean cherry, for example, has a 0% duty in India. And since India does not produce any prunes, something for you, for your leadership to raise it whenever at those platforms. I don't want to get into too much detail on this, but India is the fastest growing large economy in the world. We are right now the 5th largest in terms of size. We are destined to be the 3rd largest after US and China. India is to be the 3rd largest economy in the next 3 to 5 years. It took 60 years for India to come to $1 trillion on GDP. It took 5 for the second. And so you can imagine the pace of growth. And the very important factor on India is the last point, is that our growth is coming from internal consumption. India is not an export-led economy. So a lot of time when there are headwinds because of export issues, India is not bothered. A lot of times, India is secluded from that because the consumption is internal. One other thing, I've been a retailer before this, and we as a retail have seen that grocery and food tends to grow at least 4%, 5% higher than the GDP. So even on a bad year at 5.5%, 6% growth, this is a market that is automatically growing at 10% for you. It's also a market that is adding 1 Australia every year in population. So you can imagine the potential that exists. And this slide is very much, this is not my slide, it's done by Bain Consulting. But if you see between 2018 and 2030, from 61 million to 168 million, this is households. So number of consumption mouths that will grow. Now that's 100 million, that's a Germany getting added to a market which is ready to consume anything imported, and prunes should be a no-brainer for them. And like I said, like in China where the population is now declining, India is destined to be till 2060. So it's the youngest country in the world. Let me say this carefully, 50% of a 1.4 billion population is under the age of 35. And this Gen Z is absolutely redefining the way food is being eaten and consumed. And it's something that we need to work harder on to try and reach for this. The other important thing is, as a retailer, in my past, I can tell you, every single food company, be it healthy, be it fresh, be it dried, or be it junk, is looking for that generation's gut. That's the core business on which business plans are being developed. This generation, we did a whole research. This generation is, one, extremely tech savvy. This generation, I don't know how it is in Chile, but in India, one of the things we realized, it's not necessarily the most health conscious generation. It's a very body conscious generation. It's a different, so people don't eat or people binge. People are ordering biryani 3 in the night, which was, so the other thing that has happened to this generation is snackification of breakfast. Growing up for us, good, bad, or ugly, mom would pack some kind of food and give. A cup of yogurt and a bar was never breakfast, and we were not allowed to leave home like that. This generation is snacking on breakfast, which means that they are snacking far more during the day. We grew up eating breakfast, lunch, dinner. This generation eating at least 5, 6 times a day. And there is a genuine consciousness to eat healthy in that period. How do we tap into that? How do we drive that awareness? That's where the opportunity lies. One other thing, sorry, I missed it, is that this generation is very willing to learn. And it's also very vociferous, which means that they are not shy on telling what they feel. They change for themselves, but they also getting their parental to change eating habits. At least in India, this is what a very major trend, that they are actually forcing their parents to change their eating habits if they are convinced on something. Just to give you a glimpse of India, people who have traveled to India will understand this. This is a glimpse of what a traditional bulk dry fruit and nut shop looks like. That's a glimpse of what a mom and pop or pop and son grocery shop looks like. The challenge is that's the shops that drive India and India's sale. The problem is on the right one, the challenge is that there is no aisles for people to walk around. You go to buy what you want, you get it, you come home. So very important that we put prunes on shopping lists of people, that when they go there, they are looking at buying prunes. There is no place or no scope for them to explore. They go to buy Colgate, they get Colgate, they come home. So how do we get prunes into that basket? And then you have the modern retail that's coming up. The last one, the one on my this right, this is a new trend that I'm seeing post-COVID. Extremely gorgeous looking dry fruit and nut stores are coming up across India. And it's also a reflection of how India is consuming. What used to be like those bulk shops, these are the new high-end grocery shop, but only focused on dry fruit and nuts. Ma'am, can you let me know how my time is? Somebody please let me know, because I don't have a timer here. Then there is this one. Sure. So this one is something that is absolutely insane, and you have to come to India to experience this. Like Sam Walton, one day when history of retail will be written, history of this retail will come up. What what Walmart did to the US and to the world, these guys are doing it in India, and this will completely change the face of retail. This thing is called the quick commerce. So from e-commerce, they have moved on to this thing called quick commerce, where they are delivering products in less than 10 minutes. How they deliver is beyond me, but you can come to Delhi, Bombay, any of these cities. They're now in 24 cities. I can get you a bag of Chilean prunes in 8 minutes, sitting anywhere in the city. That's the power that they are driving with what they call as dark stores. We have to make sure that there is enough prunes or Chilean prunes in those dark stores for people to shop. And then these are some of the logos you will not be able to realize, but these are Indian companies, but putting in billions of dollars in creating the modern retail infrastructure. And the last three that I said, the e-commerce, absolutely driving it. This is some numbers on prunes, but look at the 24-25 spike. This is where we launched the campaign, and this 24-25 is only April to December. So you can easily take it that this market is going to grow at 100% plus. Small base, but the elements are there that we've just touched it. We've just touched it. We've not done any elaborate promotion, but you can already see the spike. So just to give you some pictures on what happened in India, just for your reference, I'm not going to spend too much time, but we created a digital identity. We made sure that we get the prune or Chilean prune point of sale material to all kinds of store formats that I showed you. We had some elements of outside advertising, outdoor advertising. We had limited retail promotions, but again, wherever we did, the results were extraordinary. We had tied up with those quick commerce, e-commerce operators, and again, the Chilean prunes were shining. We had limited trade show presence at World Food India and MEWA, where some of you came. MEWA is becoming the hub center for dry fruit and nut trade in India. They just announced the dates for 2026, and it's going to be in January, right before Gulf Food. So definitely as an industry, you should have this on your calendar. Social media, we are seeing tremendous interest in social media. I would encourage you all, it's your industry, your product, your money. Make sure you follow the India handles on Facebook and Instagram, and you will be able to see what we are doing and how your resources are being spent. But in general, I can tell you that the feedback has been extremely positive. Then we actually went ahead and talked to a few doctors, and these doctors don't speak easy. They don't speak because they do their study, and luckily, all four of them, these are not nutritionists, these are doctors. And in India, doctors don't advise, doctors prescribe, which means if the doctor is convinced and he says 4 prunes in the morning, 4 in the evening, people will buy prunes 4 in the morning, 4 in the evening, eyes closed. And so we are trying to see how impactfully can we reach the docs. Over the year, the message from the doctors is extremely clear. Gut and gut health is the core of probably every illness in the world, and India is struggling on it, and prunes can be a really, really fantastic place for that. We also worked with few Indian celebrity chefs. The good news is that your prunes goes beautifully with every kind of Indian cuisine, be it sweet or savory. It really adds, and this is something that we can look to build more on. I don't want to spend too much time on results, but we smashed it. I mean, whatever the numbers on the KPI, it went 300, 400% higher. So. Also on the PR, I think we saw a lot of positive coverage. People are genuinely very very positive about prunes and its health benefits. It's up to us to drive it. We did some digital advertising. The budget was limited, so we could only do a little in terms of advertising and promotion in terms of print media, etc. But we did manage some promotions. And the proposed activity for coming year is similar to it. We'll see how deep we are able to take the campaign. But I heard the presentation in the morning. I think it was when it was compared to California. I think as an industry, you need to find more resources. India is a market which is absolutely ready to take it. And California, for example, you don't see. India is on every single dry fruit and nut promotion program from California, be it pistachios or almonds or walnuts. But prunes, it was missing in the list. And the reason why it is missing is that California do not have enough product. California does not have enough prunes to supply to their existing clients. So they are not looking for new markets. India, I feel, is the perfect place for somebody like you, because you look at one China, which is taking your raw product. India is a blank slate or a blank canvas. It's for us to paint. So I just put 3 slides on challenges. Biggest challenge for prunes is low consumer awareness. People are not aware of prunes, its health benefits, how they can use it, how much they can use it. So limited volume and few importers. A lot of you also work on other products with India. So your trade relationships are already in place with walnuts, etc. Most of the importers are the same. So it's only a matter of you pushing it. And most brands continue to mention California on their packs. And that's another step for us to make sure that we get them to write Chile. And because small volume, people don't care. People have not seen why should they change, because it takes cost to change packaging, etc. And the promotion, like I said, was a very small promotion, baby steps. But I think India is ready for a year-long sustainable push. Because the headroom for growth is huge. We used to, as a retailer, talk about TAM, which is the target addressable market. You won't get a better market to target than India. And so I believe Chile can actually become the dominant. The 2 Ps, which is promote and persevere. I think 3 to 5 years of strong, large-scale campaign can really push this. And the focus needs to be increase consumer awareness and increase geographical penetration. And sales will be directly proportional to promotion. We have a saying in India, the more sugar you put, the more sweeter the dish gets. It's up to us how much sugar we want to put in the India basket. But we are seeing every dollar spent will give you a $3.5, $4, or even higher return on promotions. So in the end, I just wanted to leave you with these 10 simple mantras that I had. First is, and I see a lot of things about India. First is that your troubles in India sitting here in Chile are not going to go away. This is, by the way, a small tuk-tuk with taking coconuts. But the growth will continue. So India will continue to go its own term. The troubles will not go away, but the growth will continue. It's up to us how do we want to embrace it. Second is India is absolutely on the move. This is an image. India is always slow to start, but once it takes off, there's no stopping. And we have seen this across products. That you will see a lot of clutter in India, but people who have traveled will know that you can always find your way. There is always room on the top. Very important for us to define our India, and that's something we are doing. This is actually a picture from my old office. The 2 Indias that coexist. And that India is beyond its metros. So how quickly we can take our products deep is going to be the defining. This says this, let me say this carefully. It says there are 33 Indian cities with 1 million millionaires. how do we reach them, how do we target them is going to be so go deep, go regional is the simple message. The partnerships will be key. The importer remains the single most important entity in India. Work with your importers, work with your partners, and I'm very confident that results will show. We have to reach out, otherwise we'll just get lost as another commodity. Firecrackers mostly fail, and we've seen in India that you come here, do one big promotion, you do a Chile week, and then you go away. That will create a lot of positivity, a lot of media, but at consumer level, if you do candlelight promotion, which means thick and thin, good or bad, big year, small year, you have product and promotions, candlelight succeed. Have a long-term plan. Like I said, that's the only plan that the longer you keep, 3 to 5 years is a minimum, but yeah. And then finally, there is life beyond Google and your research. You got to come and smell the chai for yourself. 0. Thank you.